I'm Emily Lucchetti, the Executive Pastry Chef at Farallon Restaurant. And today we're going to make a very simple but very delicious apple cake. And I call it 50-year apple cake because my friend Mary Sue's grandmother has been making it for 50 years. And actually I've had the recipe for 10 years, so we're now on 60-year apple cake. But I think however long it's being made, it's a great, wonderful dessert. The first thing we're going to do is crack 2 eggs into a bowl. Whoops. And we're just going to whisk those around a little bit just to get them mixed up. And then we're going to add some granulated sugar. And whisk that in. Now it'll start to get a little bit thick here because there's quite a bit of sugar in here, but then we're just going to add some more oil, half a cup of oil. And this is just canola oil or any kind of vegetable oil. You don't want to use olive oil because you don't want that flavor. You want a more neutral flavor. So just whisk this up till it gets nice and smooth. And then we're going to sift our dry ingredients. And the way I like to sift is have my flour all ready and just put it in a strainer like this, and I'm going to put my baking soda and my salt in as well, and then just tap it with your hand and let it sift right through the strainer. Now the reason you want to sift, people often say, does it really matter? But if you look, you can see all those little big pieces of flour and baking soda that just need to be pushed through so they dissolve. If you don't push them through and make them into very small pieces, the egg and the oil is going to get wrapped around them, and then you'll have little white pellets in your baked ingredient. And then you just can pick up the parchment paper and just pour it in like a chute. And this is about the time too that I'm going to switch to a spatula because the batter starts getting very thick. And then I'm going to add some cinnamon, some golden raisins. I like golden raisins because I like the color, but you can also use black raisins, or you can use currants, you could use sour cherries. And then some toasted walnuts. And you want to make sure you always toast your nuts first at about 350 degrees for about 10 minutes, because what that does is help draw out the flavor of the walnuts, and it also helps dry them out so they won't be soggy. And then I've also diced up some apples, and I like to use either Fuji, Pink Lady, or Granny Smith, because actually those are the 3 biggest producers of apples in California. And you can see that this is quite a thick batter, but that's going to make a delicious kind of fudgy, chewy cake. And you're just going to mix that in. You want to mix it until you don't see any more flour pieces. See, that batter's pretty thick, but that's exactly what it's supposed to look like. And then you're just going to spread it into a 9 by 13 pan. You can actually just use your fingers to help do this too, to get it nice and even. And then you're going to bake this in a 350 degree oven for about 45 minutes until you put a skewer in the middle and it comes out clean. And it's going to get very almost dry on top and make a dry kind of crackly crust, but underneath it, it'll still be very chewy and very apple-y. Now you can serve this apple cake just straight up without any other sauces or garnishes, but at Farallon Restaurant when we serve it, we like to put some ice cream on and a couple different sauces to make it a really great decadent dessert. So the first thing we're going to do is put a little bit of creme anglaise on the bottom of the plate, and then a piece of the apple cake, and then we're going to put a nice big scoop of vanilla ice cream. Now you could really eat it like that and it would be really delicious, but of course we're going to add a bunch of brown sugar caramel. And you want to make sure that you get enough on there on the ice cream and the cake so you get some of that caramel in every bite. So here's an apple cake recipe that you can serve very simply, or you can turn it into a restaurant style, very extravagant dessert.